A little bit of cockiness isn't that bad. Too much of it, though, is a different story. From overconfident taunts to careless mistakes, these fighters learned the hard way that the octagon is no place for excessive boasting. In today's video, we'll be showcasing some of the most memorable instances of amateur fighters who thought they were invincible only to be humbled by their opponents. Is this a fighting octagon or a dance stage? This fighter seems to think it's for dancing. Just look at his dance moves, swaying his body, instead of throwing some punches and kicks. His opponent looked so confused as he did these movements confidently. Well, it won't last for long, because just like that, he's knocked out, losing the fight with just one strike from the opponent. Right after taunting his opponent and getting too confident, he gets instant karma. Before this, he was actually winning the match, but the other fighter chose to not give up, giving the cocky fighter deserved karma. This man certainly has different ideas about what a match is supposed to be. Unlike his opponent, who appeared to be focused on fighting, he just can't stop showboating. It was all fun and games for him until he was punched in the face, causing him to lose his balance and then the fight. I guess that's karma working right there. We should all probably take confidence lessons from this guy. Watch as he goes all over the ring, displaying a lot of cockiness, as if he was sure to win the match. Well, he couldn't be more wrong, as it only took 2 punches for him to go down. This fighter tried to be slick by faking a touch glove and hitting his opponent instead. This was definitely a bad idea because it only motivated the other fighter more. Watch as his opponent grabs him by the foot and seals a victory. Sportsmanship and professionalism are important things a fighter must have. This guy here clearly lacks both, as he smugly punches his opponent before the fight even starts. His cockiness didn't last long though. Watch as the other fighter dishes out a reality check. With just a few strikes, he ends up losing the match. This one was another fight that lasted only for a few seconds. After making this cocky face while throwing some hits, this fighter receives a left kick from the opponent. Talk about instant karma, eh? This fighter clearly isn't the brightest. Instead of guarding his face, he challenges the opponent with open arms. This easily makes a window of weakness for him. The opponent wasted no time in taking advantage, hitting him several times. See folks, never put your guard down. This cocky fighter is a classic example of why you should never be too arrogant when fighting your opponent. Everything can go wrong in an instant, and for this guy, it certainly did. In a fight, you should never let your mouth do the talking. Instead, show what you've got by throwing powerful punches. If not, you might just end up like this guy, who taunted his opponent the entire fight, only for him to end up with an embarrassing loss. This guy gives off a lot of energy showboating. Too bad he's only good at that, because in the actual fight, his energy seems to have drained out. A fight isn't over until it's over. This fight is proof of that. Watch as this fighter thinks he's winning the match after throwing some blows at the opponent. Well, the other fighter isn't giving up too easily. After a left jab, he's got nowhere else to go but down to the floor. Challenging your opponent to hit you harder is never a good idea. The previous clips will tell you that. This fighter, however, must have missed that important life lesson. After this match, though, it's a lesson he soon won't forget. This fighter seems to be in a world of his own, as you can see here during the warm-up before the fight. This behavior continued later at the start of the match when he cockily challenged his opponent to hit him as hard as possible in the face. He must have thought he could handle the blow. Boy, was he wrong. The opponent does exactly this, and well, the rest is history. This guy made another rookie mistake, taunting his opponent while letting his guard down. Watch as he openly challenges the other fighter, only to be knocked out instantly a few moments later. He was so out of it that the whole medical team had to intervene. This boxing match appears to be a normal one. 2 fighters trying their best to outsmart each other with punches. This was the case until the fighter with purple and silver shorts decided to switch things up a bit. He celebrated a bit too early because a few minutes later, this happened. These fights just seem to get shorter and shorter, all because of cockiness. Well, Here's another satisfying and humbling moment for a fighter. He raised his arm for just a second and the other fighter immediately went for it, jumping on him and knocking him out of the fight. Again, folks, don't overdo your confidence when it comes to these fights. Pre-match conferences are always very interesting to watch because most of the time this is when cocky fighters first display their smugness. Here is one fighter who fits exactly this criteria. He starts by pushing the opponent's arms away. The other fighter didn't like this and quickly pushed him back. Now to the fight. With the cockiness shown earlier, you'd think he's going to dominate the match. Turns out, he's just all talk. Watch as he suffers a blow, sending him almost out of the ring. This blonde fighter just had to ruin everything when he decided it was a good idea to taunt the other fighter. He quickly learned his mistake as the opponent took this time to land him on the floor, hitting him with several painful punches and knee kicks. This one is another pre-match conference full of cockiness. Watch and see for yourself as this fighter trash talks his opponent. Unlike him, the other fighter just remained silent. During the fight, the cocky fighter proved to be just another smug guy as he got knocked down multiple times. By the end of the fight, his soul must have left his body. These fighters never seem to learn. Time and time again, we have seen that silly antics and movements aren't for the fighting ring. Here's another cocky fighter getting destroyed right after acting all smug. So that's all for today's episode, folks. If you enjoyed watching, leave a like and share it with your friends. You can also comment and let us know what you'd like to see from this channel in the future. Also, subscribe to Trend Loops if you haven't already. You'll want to check out our other videos. Stay tuned for more awesomeness. Thanks for watching.